It took a lot to get to Sandy's Lake, but that was just a warm-up as to what was to come. No more downstream travel, dried out lakes, oppressive heat, and crazy bugs now conspired to make our lives much more difficult on this next section. So we've just got to the first lake, and it's looking nice here. It's nice and breezy, which is good. It keeps the black flies away from us. But we'll have to head back into the forest, and after this part there is a series of small little marsh slash pond. Apparently on the sat maps it shows that they're dry, so we might not find much water there, but even if it's just marshy, it'll be easy enough to slide the canoes through. But so far so good. I think everybody enjoys cutting the forest, cutting a trail through the forest and slogging through a marsh, eh? Oh. Our plan of attack was to use the creek that flowed from the upper ponds as a reference to get there. But the first order of business was to paddle in as far as we could along the waterway to get access to solid ground, from where we could then begin cutting a trail. Go that way? Okay. As you can clearly see, we were running out of water, getting stuck, and the vegetation was increasingly getting thicker. We pushed ahead, trying to get further in, always looking for the deepest channel. But at some point, there was diminishing returns in the ratio of effort to distance. So it was time to get out, and you guessed it, drag. So we just hauled over to the land. The brush was just getting too thick. You can see it just alder infested, and even though there was some water, we couldn't continue on. So we just pulled on to land. You can see all the trees here behind me, and there's just tons of black flies here. So we're just gonna get out our cutting implements, and we're gonna make our way along. I mean, this is kind of like a lowland. Obviously it's the creek, so we're just gonna follow along this shore, or this bank, and then hook up around to these three small ponds or marshes or whatever. So we got some cutting to do. Okay, so I just had enough of the black flies. Some of them are biting, they're not all biting. Actually, most of them are not biting, but the clouds of them are just super annoying. I'm constantly pulling them out of my eye, my ears, my nose. Those who've tripped in black fly season, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I can't even concentrate on the trail. So I finally said, that's it. I brought my head net, so that's what I'm going to use. As much as it feels a little constricted, it's so nice not to have them, these guys buzzing in my ears and my face and my eyes. So it's a little bit of a nice relief. We just got to the first dry lake. And it's just slow progress. This one had a lot of elevation, so it's nice to get this one done and over with, but we've got still some distance to go. It was very hot and muggy, and it took a lot out of the guys as we cut our way up to the first dry lake, but it was far from over. How you doing there, Sean?
Good. Tired.
Nice little slog there.
Yeah, it was fun. Good exercise.
Yeah. Sweating lots, my friend. Sweating lots.
I am. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm
soaked.
Yeah.
I'm soaked. After taking a well-deserved break to drink water and get more calories, it was back on the trail, but this time on a dry lake. So at the moment, what we're doing is following an animal trail. Just makes it easy to, well, sometimes it makes it a little easier to follow, but it is dry. The lake is dry. Not surprising. And there's the guys ahead. There was a relatively short section to the next lake, so we opted not to clear a trail, but rather push our way through the bush to save some time and energy. Despite this, it was still exhausting in the heat, as Sean would allude to. Exhausting, eh?
Very. Very.
Yeah.
Very.
Another missing audio file with this clip, but here's what the next lake looked like. It certainly had more water than the previous one, but it's still not a lot. The reason why this lake had more water was due to an overgrown beaver dam, but neither the beaver nor much water remained. It was actually nice to paddle again, even if it was brief. So this is Lake 3, and this is, I mean, obviously this part is overgrown, but it's a bog mat and it's floating. And it's going to obviously eventually just close in this little, which was a lake or a pond. But the interesting thing is when you walk on it, the whole thing kind of moves underneath you. And Bill up ahead hit a hole and went down. So it's an eerie feeling because it's kind of like a waterbed. And if you don't watch your step, you can go through a hole and find yourself waist deep. So you gotta tread carefully. We're just kind of walking more to the edge of this lake so that it's a little drier. Here's lake number 1, 2, and 3 thus far. Our goal now is to hike eastward to the end of lake number 3 and try and find the creek that would help guide us to our next lake, that likely even had water. As expected, the vegetation got thicker outside the edge of the lake, and then we found it, a small outflow of water. We just crossed the creek back there, but it's not going to be easy to follow, so we're going to head inland like usual, where it's drier and the footing is more sure, and we'll blaze a trail to the lake. It's already better. The idea of following the creek was a bust, as it was filled with huge boulders that would have been a nightmare to navigate. So we ended up climbing up the steep walls of the valley to continue to the lake, which was just slightly less difficult. We're in a huge red pine forest. Massive red pines. Big trees here, but we're high up off the valley. There's a creek that runs down below, but we climbed up because the boulders are too big and hard to navigate, so we're kind of going sideways up along the ridge here. The sad part of all this was that we had to come right back down off that huge ridge to get to the lake. Must have had a massive storm here. Here is the lake. We made it! Woo! So for the second carry, we decided to change it up. This would entail going straight up and over the ridge from one lake to the other. It wouldn't be easy, but there were two benefits to this. First, a shorter distance, and secondly, the ability to lower the canoes on the downhill side with ropes, which overall would make it much easier than going the way we originally came. Just at the top, and a lot more level. It's gorgeous up here. Really, really love this area. And I think some of this area is going to be logged, which is unfortunate because it looks like it hasn't been touched or logged for a long time. And it's like pretty much looks like a virgin forest. Man, it shakes. The big boys are coming through. If you guys can get through it, there's a good chance I should be able to. So one thing we notice, not only the pitcher plants, but there's cranberries here. If you look over here, there's cranberries there, there, and even here. So it's kind of cool. But we won't be harvesting the cranberry. So what we're gonna do is, because we came out from over there, we're gonna paddle over to that side just to shorten the walk over across. But we have to go up that huge ridge. It's hard to see, but it goes straight up. We get to the top, and then we could kind of go over to the left and then go straight down. So if you look up here, DQ's all decked out. I'm gonna try to carry the canoe all the way up there. All the way up to the top. It's way, way up there. And it's a lot easier up there than having to go down in the valley, so that's what we're gonna do. The climb on this is insane. We got up quite a ways. I'm just dripping sweat all over my face. Here's the other canoe coming up. You can dump your canoe there. These guys are just clearing up a trail so we can get through there. This is blowdowns. How you doing there, buddy? Yeah, it's quite the climb, eh? Yep.
Yep. It'd be quite the climb without a canoe.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the top of the hill. The lake is way down below. So what we're going to do is, just to save us from having to portage down a steep hill, we're going to lower it with a rope. It'll make it a lot easier. I'm bleeding again, yeah, just everywhere. Okay, here we go. Boys getting roped up. All right, here we go. Is there another section to lower?
No.
No?
Well, I went down the road, you can probably...
So, DQ took off his hat and dead black flies everywhere on the brim. The ones on the inside all fell out, unfortunately. I couldn't show you, but it just peppered his forehead and his eyes there. So he's got a bit right on his eye over there. It's all swelling up. Yeah, look at that. His veins are popping out too.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Oh, I think we're on like 5,000–6,000 calorie burn today.
Yeah, for
right?
sure, for sure. What do you think, Bill? 10,000 for you?
Something like that.
Something like that. All right.
Oh, damn, this thing's running out.
After a quick break, we paddled out and found ourselves atop a rocky promontory overlooking the pretty lake. Okay, it's 5:37 and we were absolutely exhausted, and we decided to call it quits. This is not where we were supposed to end today, but that's fine. We can make it up tomorrow. Bill's like absolutely exhausted too, and you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he's like almost 60 years old. We're just in a nice stand of red pine overlooking the lake below. So see, I'm just getting them in my it's now in my eye, I think. Yep. So man, so we're just I got a nice view of the lake below, and those guys are just down below here. So we're just gonna drag all the stuff up here, and we got some nice flat spot. We're gonna set up the bug shelter here. There's some areas back there that are flat, so we'll set up a tent there, and we'll be good to go. It's overcast as well too. Bill said from the forecast that it's supposed to rain tonight, so it's probably also a good idea to get down early so that we can set up all our tarps and shelters so that we'll be settled in for the night. Earlier day, but still hard nonetheless. It was actually probably harder than yesterday just because we were already tired from the day before. All right, so better get set up. Everyone's got so many bites from black flies, it's crazy. Thought I'd show you the black flies that are crawling all over my arm here. It's insane. I don't know if it's a sweat, but they're all over my arms. After 3 days of sweating, it's time for a swim. After the rest of the guys cleaned up, we settled down around the campfire to have supper, but the rain soon came and relegated us to the bug shelter for the rest of the evening. And then it was off to bed, to rest our weary, bug-bitten bodies. Good morning. I think autumn is soon approaching. This is the first morning that we woke up and it was kind of a little bit of a chill, and it actually feels like autumn. But we had the rain last night, and we all had to, just as we were starting supper, and we had to run into the bug shelter, and we had supper there. Good thing is that after probably about an hour or so, it passed and it stopped raining. This morning, it's kind of overcast. There's some blue in the sky, but hopefully the sun will come out and it'll be a nice day today. We didn't make the lake that we were planning to make today. We were supposed to be 2 lakes down. But this one had the most elevation, so this was the hardest one. The other 2 are not that difficult, but we'll obviously do that today. I think by the time we got here, it was close to 6 o'clock. Everybody was pretty much tired, and so we wanted just to make sure that everybody was okay. So we decided to make camp here. I mean, we found this beautiful, beautiful ledge off this lake here. So we decided to camp here, and man, it's a beautiful site. So it was well worth it. Today today's plan was to go to Charcoal Lake, and it is through some known section, and then of course there's some unknown section. Now once we get to, which I think it's Happy Cheese Bun Lake, which of course I know, then we'll decide whether to go all the way. it's just based on time and how everyone feels. So I'm really happy with this group. Everyone's been super positive, even though it's been tough, and everyone's been slogging away. So good things are happening from this group, and I think everyone's been bonding really well. We've all had all kinds of injuries, and yesterday DQ got stung by a couple wasps while scouting, right? And a couple people took some wipeouts and things like that, so that's kind of a standard thing. But otherwise, everyone's just alive and happy, and we're looking forward to day 4.
I've never seen so many people.
Good morning, Bill.
Morning.
How are you feeling?
It's a wonderful day to be alive.
That's great. Bill's statement couldn't have been more true. His shins had scrapes and bruises, his hands were covered in black fly bites, and even had blackened toes. But every morning he was ready to do it all over again. All this on his first Crown Land trip outing. And here I was with an oddly different concern. I'm a big fan of my purple underwear, and some people aren't, but I am very saddened today because if you look at my underwear right now, it got burnt. Yesterday we swam, because obviously we're all soaking with sweat, and so we went for a swim, and I figured it was actually getting overcast, and like I said, it rained later on, and I thought, being synthetic, I would try to dry it really quickly, and I thought it was away from the flame, but I guess one area wasn't, or maybe it was closer to the coal or something. And then I pulled it out and I felt something hard and I realized I'd melted, and so I don't know. I may put it on today. The problem is it's going to cause a chafing because it's actually hard, right? It's stiff. Like you can hear it. So I'll have to use my backup underwear today, which means I won't have a comfortable underwear to where I camp. The other option I could do is I can cut it out. Let me see. Alright, so I cut out the burnt part of my underwear. Here's the hole in my underwear. It is on the side. I mean, I could be convenient if it was in the front, but it's in the side. So I'll put it on and let's see how it holds up. I've only got one more night, so shouldn't be a problem. And then I still got one more purple underwear at home, so I'll have to find out where Sarah got these, and I'm gonna get some more because I really like them. Just keep them away from fires. With that dilemma sorted out, it was time to pack up and leave our beautiful Red Pine campsite. This site ended up being our favorite one of the trip, and to think, no one had ever been here. We left this gem with little evidence of our passing, other than the fire ring, which will likely in time grow over with a lack of use. So we're starting a little later this morning. Everybody was a little tired from yesterday, which is fine. Today we're now heading to these unknown lakes. The elevation is not as high as this one, so it shouldn't be so difficult. But it shows that there was a creek. I don't know whether we're going to take the creek or the other option is to bushwhack through the forest here. So they're just checking it out, and they're starting day 4. So this section is only like 100 meters to the next body of water, and I'm scouting the creek, and those guys are scouting inland. But as you can see, whoa, there's big boulders and down trees, and the creek literally just runs through here. It would be a nightmare to try to push a boat through there. So I just kind of yelled back and said it's a no-go. So they're trying to see if there's a way through the land, and we'll just kind of cut our way through. This is the kind of mess that we're dealing with. Big boulders everywhere. It's beautiful, but I'm not gonna get through over this way. But not portage friendly, but a little bit of maintenance work from us, and we'll be on our way. Yeah. So this is the strength of a 59-year-old. He realized
Young 59.
young 59. He doesn't he realized he didn't need to saw. He's just going to tear it with his hands, rip it apart. He did say he was taking extra vitamins this morning. Nice. Thank you, Bill. That's one less high step that I gotta do. Shortest entry, exit. Oh, the black flies are out. Shit, we're already coming on logs. Ah. Okay, you know what? I'll have to get out.
The channel was shallow and had logs across, so we immediately had to resort to pulling the canoes through the section.
I don't know, Bill. I think it might be back.
After some time spent dragging through the marsh, we finally arrived at the next lake, held back by a beaver dam.
I mean, it's really hard to make those kind of guesses, right? But when you don't see evidence of people tripping through here or signs of, like, usually it's quite often like the hunters, they'll get in because they want to fish or hunt in this area. But trippers, probably way less so.
Well, there's no even sign of hunter.
No, no.
Finding no evidence of travelers past or present could only mean one thing: no easy way in or out of this area, and thus the paddling would soon come to an end. And if running out of water was your guess, you were spot on.
We're walking through this moss-covered bog, and I just stepped in this and just went in through past my knees. We just had Bill whoop it up. He was just crying with excitement because I guess there's water